I'm happy to be joined here today by Natalie Clydesdale. She's the manager of the Lloydminster Museum and Archives. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Now, this is actually kind of exciting. The Old Minster Church is getting a restoration, it's getting fixed up. So that's really exciting. To start on that, can we just talk about the historical significance of the church within the city?
Yes, we can. So the log church was built in 1904. It was originally located downtown, right across from the Prairie North Plaza, so what used to be the Co-op Plaza. And it was constructed by logs that were transported from residents from Onion Lake and moved to Lloydminster. And then residents from Onion Lake, as well as the bar colonists, built it in 1904 to be used as a church starting in August of that year. And then so it was used or as a church for a couple of years until the congregation outgrew the church and built the current Anglican church that's located across from the movie theater right now. And then for years it was used for various businesses and then sold to the city of Lloydminster in the 1960s. And then in the early 1960s, it was moved to what is now Weaver Park.
And so it's obviously very old and it's a huge part of the city and it's been around for so long. So why or what kind of started the ball rolling on getting it restored, or who what approach did the city take to get this restoration kind of started?
Well, it started with when it was relocated from the downtown. Pretty much starts from in the 1960s. One of its uses when it was downtown was a storefront, and the front of the building was removed at some point to make way for some windows. Unfortunately, when it comes to log timber buildings, all four walls have to remain intact in order for it to be structurally sound. When it was moved, some poplar timbers were put in the place of where those windows were that don't hold the weight of the building. So from the early 1960s all the way up until early 2021, it started to lean. And that's when we started noticing that it was leaning towards the east. In 2021, we had to brace the side of it to prevent it from toppling over. And that was the reason why the restoration is needed. We need to make sure that it's structurally sound. And currently, right now, the front of the building isn't holding any weight. And so the restoration is going to start in June. And the first phase of that restoration is to make sure to stabilize the structure. That's the priority right now. And so there are options. We have brought in a timber specialist, and they're going to be stabilizing the church and adding additional structure to the interior to prevent it from moving in the future. Our second phase, going to happen at a future date, is conservation treatments. So that is going to be preserving the materials and trying to slow the test of time and the effects of time on the log church over the next period of next 50 years.
That sounds awesome, and it's great because then it's something that stays in the city. It's historically significant to the city, so it's great that you guys are making sure that it lasts even longer. And that kind of goes into my next question about what are the plans for the restoration once it's kind of completed, or is it still going to be in use as the restoration goes on?
Yes. So once it's finished, prior to us closing the building due to the structural issues, we used to open up the building just for general tours. You could come and you could go. There was no admission to see the inside of the church, and that's the plan moving forward is to allow the community to enjoy this heritage building. There's not too many of those buildings left over from the original couple of years of Lloydminster's settlement, and it's sort of unique in that it's made of log timbers. There's no other surviving buildings from that era made out of log timbers. And so we also plan to open it up for rentals, photography, wedding rentals. We will be doing guided tours and other such programming in the church as well.
That sounds awesome, and I'm sure a lot of people are already starting to plan that out. Is there a date that people kind of can, or when that will reopen, so people can kind of start planning ahead?
The restoration will take most of this summer, and most likely lead into the fall. So we're really hoping that next spring, next year, when we start to see some warmer weather, we can hit the ground running and open it up to the public next spring.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me, and I can't wait to see the finished look after it's all restored and ready to be open.
Perfect. Thank you.